Strong looks different for each of us, and it's time to put focus on our unique journeys that get us there. This space, created weekly, is for athletes to improve their mindset in order to better navigate challenges that come up in sport and in different seasons of life. On this show, we ask the questions that lead to better answers and have the conversations that truly matter. This is the Becoming Your Strong podcast. What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the Becoming Your Strong podcast. Excited to have you here today, even though I might fall asleep. Just kidding. I won't fall asleep, but I am still pretty exhausted from what was the huge, most fun DEKA FIT weekend in Austin, Texas. I am really thrilled to tell you about the Becoming Your Strong moment of the week, as it did come from the race weekend. But honestly, you guys, this moment was just so freaking cool. It was one of the highlights probably of my DEKA journey, of my DEKA experience thus far. One of the teams that raced this weekend, I should actually say two of the teams that raced this weekend, was a dad-daughter duo. The one that I got to see and do some judging on at the very end of the event was a dad and his 8-year-old daughter running the entire DEKA FIT together. Now, as I'm sure you could imagine, dad did more of the work, and he did that for his oldest daughter as well. But it was just the cutest thing in the entire world, watching this dad, do some of the zones that she couldn't really do, and then just seeing her out there on the race course with all of these adults just like zipping through and running as fast as she could. I just was like, not only was it adorable and like just a fun sight to watch, but my heart was just so happy, because like that is what we need in this world, right? Is just setting the example for others, setting especially the example for the younger generations to come on what living life full out really looks like, what taking care of yourself looks like. And just to the dad that did 2 races with his younger daughters, he did them at a pretty high intensity, and to do that race twice in a row, probably with very minimal rest. I mean, that is just the definition of strong right there, is just going all out for the people that you love and for yourself. So it was just a really cool moment that so many of us in the DEKA FIT arena rallied behind it. I actually got to count the burpees at the end, and we were encouraging the young gal who was 8 just to pick up the 11-pound burpee and just to try. She was nervous that she wouldn't be able to get it over her head, and she did. She went down, touched her chest to the ram, came up, and the first one was like, ah, and then like she got used to it, and she did like 5 or 6 reps. And it was just so freaking heartwarming to see them run across the line together. So if you had the chance to see that, I'm sure you know exactly, just how impactful that is. But this is just for everyone to have that reminder that we have such an influence, such a strong influence on one another to do big, amazing, incredible things. Be that influence for someone today. Be that impactful person for someone this week. So that is the Becoming Your Strong moment of the week. Let's go ahead and jump right into the podcast. So, this weekend was just so freaking awesome. It was my very first official fit that I've ever been to. They've had the road show here in Colorado, but I've never actually been out to like the official fit where you have most of DEKA HQ there running the event, and it's big and just tons of people. It was just so cool to be out there and to see some people that I've connected with you online through social media and just other platforms. It just was absolutely awesome. But I went head up this weekend with some pretty big discomforts. To start off the week, like the days leading into the event, I had this thought of potentially putting myself in the mix for the Elite Women race. And this was something that I had this feeling where I had this amazing opportunity to actually run a legitimate fit course and beat my time from last time. And more importantly, just be challenged and elevated by an incredible group of women. Like, I was so bought in on that. But I was also drowning in these fears of external judgment and these stories that were going on in my head. Like, what if people were to see me in last place when they know how good I am at the sport and I'm getting passed up on all the runs and people aren't taking me seriously anymore and they're doubting my ability and potential clients might not want to work with me because, again, I didn't do as well. Like, guys, these were the stories that were quite literally going on in my head, in addition to this race. Unfortunately, in the past, just the discipline of the fit, it's never personally brought me like a ton of joy. And I think, honestly, that has a lot to do with the pressure that is in my head, not necessarily because of the race style itself. It's I've never been a runner and all these people are really good at running and all that's going to happen is I'm going to get passed up and therefore I don't enjoy it. Versus like, I just legitimately hate this race. I really do think it's the latter of just the pressure I put on myself. So I went back and forth with this in my head and I struggled to really make a decision. So I told myself that I would make my final decision when I got out there so I could really just sit on it and sleep on it and just let the right answer come to me, because I knew that it would over time. So we get there, we do this really awesome clinic. Kevin and I do this athlete clinic on Thursday night. Got a chance to meet some really amazing people, so much fun. So vibes were riding high. Got to again meet some people with DEKA HQ, some people that I didn't know. And then, we go into Friday, we get there, the vibes are high. Everything is just like, it's so freaking fun. And we are getting ready to race the 4-person relay, the first ever one, which, you guys, if you ever get the chance to race this, you have to give yourself the opportunity to. It is so much fun. It is a lot to think about. There's a lot going on. There's a million ways that you can slice and dice a freaking strategy, but regardless of all of that, it is such a fun race, especially if you have 3 people that you just love selling out for. It's so freaking cool. But the coolest thing about this thing was just how I felt about my effort during the race. Like, I've been working really hard on my running. I've been really just working hard on my threshold intervals. And just when I was out there, like, I felt like I was flying, not just in the zones, the things that I'm very comfortable in, but just on the runs. Like, I was keeping up with some really solid people. And even Dave was like, dude, you're dragging me along right now. Your running is looking so good. And so I just was so proud of how I showed up in that race, the performance that I had. And so I was laying in bed, just debriefing and downloading my thoughts from the day with Dave. And Kevin was texting me from a different room, just saying, like, I really believe in you. And after what we saw today with how well you ran, I don't see why you wouldn't give yourself a shot just to put, your name in the hat for this elite wave and see what happens. He even went as far as saying, he goes, keep up with the people. I think that you could actually beat people and be a podium contender if you allow yourself to go to that place. And so just with a little bit of, that push and belief from him, and just being able to hear my thoughts out loud and really knowing what's important to me, which is the fact that, like, I really just want to continue to work on trusting myself and building that belief within myself. And the best way to do it is to throw myself into the deep end and, like, literally force myself to swim, to have my own back. Like, that's what I really wanted. And this experience was going to give me that, as long as my head was in the right space for that, right? Like, I wasn't sitting there and giving in to all of these other cons that I had thought of, all these what if stories. And I was leaning into this fact that pressure truly is a privilege. So I closed my eyes and I pressed send on the payment, and I'm signed up for the elite race. So I go to bed and 2:45 a.m. rolls around and I randomly wake up. And of course, my mind starts to go absolutely wild. I can't sleep. My adrenaline kicks in because it knows that, in 10 hours or so, we're going to be doing something pretty hard. And this isn't something that I'm unfamiliar with. This is something that has happened before, especially at World Championships this past year. So when I was having these same, like, anxiety, sort of just crazy feelings, my thoughts were going wild, I knew that I was going to be up for a while. I wasn't going to get much sleep, and I just had to do the best that I possibly could with managing and navigating the thoughts that I was having. I honestly, you guys, like as I was laying there, I just let my thoughts come in. And with each one, I genuinely listened to them. And I also worked on kindly shutting the door on the voices that were not serving me. I was validating the reason that they were there, basically acknowledging that, hey, I know you're just trying to protect me, but that there were honestly better reasons for me to be excited for what I was going to do later that day. I finally fell back asleep. And then, of course, the fire alarm, which who would have thunk that a fire alarm in our Airbnb would go off? But the fire alarm went off not too long later. And so my sleep that I finally was able to get back to didn't last very long. But all that to say, I didn't get great sleep. My adrenaline was running high from about 2:45 in the morning. And just all morning through, I was wrestling with anxiety and just these constant floods of just thoughts around everything that was going on. At one point, I was like sitting in the car and we were heading our way back to the arena, and I could not stop myself from shaking. And I was like, wow, this is really affecting me in a way that I did not think that it would. It's been a while, you guys, since I had like been this shaken up about this. And I honestly think that this part of it was, definitely due to the previous stories, but also like when I run the strong, I am very like, I know the pace, I know the strategy, I know exactly what I'm doing. I've trained for this. Like I just need to go and execute. It's more of like the fear of this discomfort that's about to happen of like, oh, this is going to really hurt. But this was like, I don't train for this race. Like, yes, I train for DEKA, but I don't know what run pace to go at. I don't know how hard I should push. I kind of don't honestly know when to push. Like I'm sort of just like doing this big trial and error on the big stage when there's going to be a live stream and there's going to be an announcer and there's going to be 22 other women running circles with me. Like this is kind of a lot. So I think that there was just a lot going on at that point. But what I want to really do is give you guys these things, these tips, these pieces of advice, just what it is that I did to sort of troubleshoot that situation, to help myself navigate that discomfort and ultimately overcome it. So some of the things that I was telling myself was that my body was preparing me to do something really cool later that day. And that this feeling that I was having of, being kind of excited, being nervous, just like having the shakes, all of that, right? Like that just adrenaline fueled feeling. It was okay as long as I managed it. And I told myself like, hey, I get it. We're getting ready to do something cool. But right now is just not the time to be getting prepared for the big moment. So let's table that for now and just working on a big deep breath in, holding for 4 counts, big deep breath out, holding for 4 counts. That's something that's known as box breathing. Just using my breath and that thought to really help just sort of bring the heart rate back down, bring the stress levels back down. Another thing that I did is I braced myself. And this is something that I got from my Mind Over Muscle book. And I told myself that it was going to be hard. This was going to be a hard race. And that's okay. And there were going to be moments that I didn't feel good. And that was also okay. But I'm also 100% positive that I am absolutely so good at adapting on the fly and knowing myself. And that I've made it through 100% of every single challenging moment that I have been through, mentally, physically, emotionally, within this race, within life, right? So while I knew that this was going to be hard and this was going to take a certain mental grit and a certain ability to overcome and adapt the pain physically, I was going to make it through to the other side. So there was really no reason to be this nervous. And that really helped, right? Is just getting myself ready so that when it was uncomfortable, I wasn't shocked. I wasn't upset. I was like, okay, it's here. We know what to do. We know how to grind. We know that we're able to make it to the other side 100% of the time because it's always been the proof in the past that we can. So that was a really awesome tool from my book that I got to use this weekend. And I think that it worked pretty dang well, because when I got to those moments into the race, it was like I didn't feel overwhelmed. I felt like I was at home, like I was in flow, and that I like truly, again, just I trusted myself. I trusted myself in that moment that everything was going to be okay. So I'm hoping that that's something, especially for many of you going into last chance qualifying weekend this weekend for DEKA, that you can take a page from that book and really brace yourself before the race. Don't sugarcoat it and hoping that everything's going to be okay, that it's not going to hurt. Stop wishing for it to not hurt. Stop wishing for it to feel better. It's not going to, ever. It's always going to hurt, especially the better that you get. Know that it's going to do that. But that, again, you have the ability to make it through to the other side. Another thing that I told myself was I needed to address these stories that were going on in my head, these stories about people taking me less seriously, of clients maybe not wanting to work with me anymore, or future clients not ever wanting to work with me because, well, shouldn't she be good at this? Shouldn't she be good at everything? Like, that was the expectation and the pressure that I was putting on myself. And so I had to sit there and go through those, again, validating myself of like, hey, I totally understand why you might think that. I totally get why you're trying to protect me from having this experience, because that, if that was to actually happen, where people had that judgment and those actions came to real life, like, that would put me in a really rough situation. But none of these are true. None of these are true. And in fact, the people that genuinely want to work with you, the people that you're going to attract, are not the people that expect you to be perfect, the people that expect you to be absolutely amazing and winning at every single race that you do. That's not life. That's not realistic. The people that want to work with you are the people that genuinely want to see how you navigate discomfort and struggle, and that you don't give up, right? And that you're able to pass what it is that you're learning down to them so that they have the courage and the ability to do it too. Those are the people that I want to work with, at least. If there were people this weekend that watched me race and they were like, oh yeah, that's cool, maybe not so much, like, no offense, those are people I probably don't want to work with anyways. I want to work with those people that are the underdog, the people that do have the fire and the passion to do something amazing, but they don't know it all yet. They don't have it all together. They're still working on becoming the best version of themselves as an athlete. Those are the people that I want to inspire and work with. So why should I ever hold myself to that standard? I should drop that, right? Because that's clearly not true. So that was a really good opportunity and moment for me as well. So what stories can you start to address in your head and start to say, hey, I appreciate you trying to protect me, but here's the truth of it all. And therefore, I'm going to kindly shut the door on this. The next thing that I did is I reminded myself to just trust in divine timing, to trust that as long as I continue to challenge myself, to show up in these ways, to throw myself into the deep end, the right outcomes and the learning lessons will always come to me. That if I let go of the outcome that I expect, that I would instead let in everything that I truly needed instead. Just having this like feeling of I don't have to worry about what's going to happen during the race or on the other end, because I just trust that the right things are going to come my way to truly show me what it is that I need to do next to level up, to really help me celebrate all of the progress that I've made in the last 2 years since starting the sport. Like, it just felt so good to let go of the outcome and just let in the present. Just be in every single step, every single breath, every single moment of that zone that I was in, not thinking ahead, just thinking about exactly what it is that I was doing. And again, just trusting that the right thing would be on the other side. I think that's something that we could all practice a lot more. And it's so much easier said than done. But if you're just able to take a deep breath and say, There's no reason to worry because the right things that are meant to be are there waiting for me, that I'm exactly where it is that I'm supposed to be. I just need to have the courage to take the first step. I guarantee that that alone is going to help you settle in. The last thing I want to share. When I was filled with insane nerves and this incredible feeling of discomfort before I raced, I told myself to be the light. I started thinking about my story and all the people that were there that weekend that came up to me and said how inspired they are by my story and that they just can't wait to watch me. I just know that this journey that I've been on is so much bigger than myself. And by stepping out there to just merely try something out of my comfort zone, I was giving permission to others to do the same thing. I was leading by example, showing that you'll never feel ready, but you'll also never get the chance to discover more about yourself if you let those fleeting feelings win. It was my chance to live my purpose and be the guiding light to others, and that is a gift that I absolutely couldn't pass up. What I can tell you, you guys, is that the thoughts didn't stop coming in, but I can say that each time they did, I got better at turning the volume down on them. My body eventually, before the race, started to reach homeostasis again, and I was finding my joyful, calm self. And by the time that it was ready to go, like, I was in a good space to just attack the race and race it in the way that I wanted to do it. And I did just that. I ended up in 7th place out of 22 women. I had the fastest zone of splits out of the field. I crushed my last time by over 3 minutes, and I met my goal of going sub 40 by earning a mark of 38.06. I discovered how freaking fit I am and how I don't give myself nearly enough credit for that I can push so much more if I just allow myself to do so. Guys, I had such a freaking blast racing that race, and moving from last place on the first few stations to competing for anywhere between 5th and 8th place by the end of the race was just so freaking cool for me. But while the zone splits and all of the things that I accomplished that day were really cool, I will say the thing that I was most proud of was the people that I had the chance to inspire. And I say that not to brag, but to remind you that you all have the same opportunity in front of you to do the same thing. If you are afraid to say yes for you, please find the courage to say yes for the person who is praying that you do. Thank you guys so much for showing up for you today. I hope that this episode truly helped. Please be sure to rate and review the podcast if you haven't already, and share this with friends and family that need to hear it. That's all I got for today. Time to go take a nap. I'll see you guys on the next episode of Becoming Your Strong. See you then.